Hey folks, this is Stratman Mark. Thanks a lot for dropping by my brand spanking new channel. I appreciate it. Topic of this video is how I discovered that choosing the right guitar pick, believe it or not, can actually make a huge difference in whether or not you're getting, the ideal action and tone that we all desire. All right, so before I go any further, I went to the music store a little while ago and just got an assortment of picks to just show you some of the shapes and styles and materials and stuff that are available out there. All right, so we'll take a closer look at that. All right, and I apologize in advance for the handheld video here, a little shaky. I'm sorry about that. All right, so to the left of the screen there, you can see a Dunlop. It says it's made out of Tortex. It's a 0.73 millimeter. You can see it's got a very unusual shape. To the right of that is another Dunlop. That's a 0.68 millimeter, I believe, also made of Tortex. Unlike the Fender picks that you see to the right, which have a very smooth and shiny surface and texture, these Tortex Dunlops here that we're looking at now have a very matte finish. So that matte finish, as opposed to a shiny slick finish, is going to affect the way the pick feels in your hands. So that's something to know about. Okay, and then over here we have some classics, of course, the Fender picks. We got a thin, a medium, and a heavy. I do not know what these are made out of. I started off with the thin Fender pick years ago and played that pick for decades. Then, suspecting I might get even more tone from my strings, I went to a medium and then finally settled on a heavy. And I did get more tone from my strings. But the trade-off was I also got more pick tone. Okay. Well, whenever I would go to my local music store and to buy, my Fender picks, I would buy them from a dispenser, basically. It was kind of like a fishing tackle box, but it was vertical, had a whole bunch of little drawers, and they were all filled with different picks. Different shapes, different sizes, different materials, etc. So I thought, I was tweaking all kinds of things to try to get the blues tone I was after, right? And I thought, well, since I've tweaked all these other things, maybe I should tweak my pick. I mean, why not? Let's give it a try. So I went and got a pocket full of picks, much like what you see right here now. And what I landed on is the following. I ended up going with these I ended up going with one of these 5 Dunlop picks here in the center of the screen there. Now, these are quite different. They're made out of nylon, okay? They're made out of nylon, and the thickest one, rather, is 1 millimeter. The next thickest one is 0.73. Excuse me. The thickest one is 1 millimeter. The next one thinner is a 0.73. Next one thinner down from that is 0.60. Thinner still is a 0.48. I think it's 0.46, actually. And then the thinnest one here is a 0.38 millimeter. And they are made out of nylon, as you can see. All right, so I landed on these picks, which I like the best. Now, the heavier picks were the same tone, really, as the Fender picks. So I had already made a journey from using a thinner pick and moving up to a heavy pick with the Fenders. So I thought, well, let's try a journey going from a thicker pick down to a thinner one. Okay, so I found that when I used kind of this middle pick here, that one there, okay, middle of the road, thinner than the Fenders, but not the thinnest one of the group. When I was using that, I found, first of all, I was getting less pick tone from the pick noise hitting the string, and I was getting more music tone off the string itself. Furthermore, I discovered by accident that if I hit the string with the meat of the tip of my index finger and the meat of the tip of my thumb that was holding that pick, if I hit the string with the meat of my index finger and the meat of my thumb and the tip of the pick all simultaneously, I got this fantabulous blues tone, right? And then I found when I went from thinner to thinner to thinner picks and finally ending up with the thinnest one at 0.38 here, when I got to the thinnest one there, I found that there was virtually, come on, please focus. I found there was virtually no pick noise, and there was a whole bunch of finger noise, right? So there was virtually no pick noise, and the meat, that tone I was loving from the meat of my fingers hitting the strings, as well as the pick, was fantastic. And since there was virtually no pick tone, I was really just hearing the sound of the meat of my fingers, which sounds fantastic. And I even tried playing without a pick at all and only with the meat of my fingers, and that sounded fantastic too. And virtually the same as using the 0.38 millimeter pick. Okay, so that's one deal there. So I landed on that pick. Now here's another thing that I think is rather interesting. See if I can hold this, change my position, my holding on the grip on the phone without screwing something up. Now, this thin pick here. Now I found that I could adjust the amount of that meaty finger sound by doing this. Now, first of all, this is the way I used to play and hold a pick like just about everybody. All right, can we get a focus? Oh wait, this is how I used to hold a pick and play like this. You know, like virtually everybody on the planet. Well, I found that I was feeling like I had a little bit too much pick here, a little bit too much pick sticking out, couldn't play quite as fast as I wanted to. So I decided to rotate the pick this direction and use this left-hand corner of the pick, which was not as sharp and pronounced, it was more subtle, so I could play faster. I also learned that that I could hold it like this, and if I extended the pick like that, I could really pick those strings individually. If I retracted the pick like that, I could get all meat from my fingers creating the tone. This is mostly meat from my fingers creating the tone. Less meat from my fingers, more picky, more individually picked clear string tone. So I found that I could adjust the amount of meat finger blues tone, if you will, by retracting for more meaty tone, extending for more of a, less meaty tone, if you will. Okay? All right. Here's the other thing, and this is really important also. We'll see if we can get a focus right now. All right, if you look at the the gray pick in the center of the screen there, you can see there's a texture on that. You see that? See that texture? On the other side of the word nylon, it's very textured. So when I when I switched to the thinnest pick here, and I switched to this playing position, well, when I did that, I was switching from the pick being smooth and non-textured to the textured portion. Right there, it's not going to focus like that. But I switched, I ended up, let's turn this pick in the right orientation. So that's how I was playing the pick there. Sorry about that jiggly. I'm really sorry, folks. Anyway, so when I was playing in that position there, it's not going to focus. Anyway, when I was playing in that position there, I was getting that texture. What's the point? I found that texture creates a wonderful raspy tone along with, the note you're playing. A wonderful raspy tone that wouldn't be good for jazz, but it's pretty fantastic for blues, in my opinion and from my experience. Yeah, that raspy right there. Okay, see, now, center screen block pick, you can really see that texturing. When you play on that left side edge corner there, if you extend the pick like I showed you, you get a bunch of that raspy, which sounds cooler than hell, extra dirty, extra gritty. If you retract the pick up in between your finger and thumb, you can see that the very edge of that pick does not have a texture, so you get a cleaner tone. So you get a lot of variations in tone from the one pick, right? Sideways orientation as opposed to point down gives you much faster picking, in my opinion, and for me. And the texturing gives you, as desired, a great raspy tone for blues, stinging kind of a tone. And again, the more you extend the edge of the pick and expose more of that textured surface to the string, the more rasp you get. And if you retract the pick up into your fingers so you're only getting that smooth edge, well, then you get a clean tone. So there you go. That's how, from my experience, choosing the right pick can make a huge difference in getting the action that you want and the tone that you want. The action improvement I got from playing the pick sideways, much faster. And the retracting and extending of the pick in that sideways orientation made the pick much more flexible in the tones I could get. Clean picked tones and more raspy, meaty finger tones. So there you go. One last thing I want to say. I want to close this video with a shout out to my hometown neighborhood music store in Seattle, Washington, The Trading Musician. It's an independent store. Got a great staff. I've been there a long time. I've been shopping there for many years. Coolest thing of all is about 90% of their gear is used, and they got some awesome vintage gear there, folks. They got stuff you can't get elsewhere. All right, so thanks again to Trading Musician in Seattle, my neighborhood music store, and thanks for watching my channel. Subscribe, maybe. Huh? If I deserve it, subscribe. And if not, well, I'll keep trying to work hard and make better videos. All right, thanks. This is Stratman Mark signing off. Play on, brothers and sisters.